I'm not recording this video any more times. Hi you guys, my name is Tamika. This is my channel, Tamika Uploaded. Like I said, I am right back. We're gonna get straight into it. We're gonna talk about the books that I've read so far. If you're interested in what I'm drinking, I currently just had a little bit of Tiku sake. I really like it. This is of course not an advertisement for anything because nobody's sponsoring this channel but me. But you know, if you're just kind of interested in the good sake, this is really good. I tried it. I thought the packaging was really cute, hence why I got it. But enough with that, let's get to reading. The first book that I want to talk to you guys about is Stealing Snow by Danielle Page. I thought this was an excellent book. I really enjoyed it. It does get a little slow and it does get a little monotonous in certain parts, but it doesn't last long enough to really ruin the overall story. But just in case you didn't know, this is a fairy tale retelling of Snow White. The main character name is Snow, and she grows up in pretty much a psychiatric hospital due to something that she does to herself. But the first guy she kissed, he goes ballistic, and then when she goes to see him again to let her know that she forgives him for what he did, he gets sucked into a mirror. A new orderly appears, tells her she's a long-lost princess, and she ends up in the land where not only is she a long-lost princess, but she is also the most powerful magic wielder in the land, hence why the king of the land wants to have her assassinated. So it is definitely an adventure. It's a crazy whirlwind of a ride. I thought it was very interesting how this main character is saving a guy. You know, that's kind of a little bit different. It's usually a guy who's trying to save a princess, but in reverse, it's a princess trying to save a guy. And even though that's like the main mission of her like entering this new world, she ends up having like multiple love interests, and you really don't know where the story is gonna go. But if you like reality television, a little bit of Jerry Springer, a little bit of Dr. Phil, catch me outside, how about that? If you kind of into that a little bit, you're probably gonna really be into this book because some messed up family situations happening here that I did not see coming. So I do hope you pick up this book. If you do, please let me know. And if you have, you know, comment down below and we can talk about it a little bit more. If you have any questions, of course, you can always ask. You can always ask. Next book that I'm going to talk to you guys, this book was actually a gift. I had actually unboxed it in like my December unboxing, and that is Scott Westerfeld's Afterworlds. This was a fantastic read. I definitely get this 5 out of 5 stars. It is heavy, like just to look at it is so heavy. The pages are like legit, like it's just thick. Like, you know, I don't know why that's just something that really stands out about this book. But what's really cool about this book that I didn't know prior to reading it is that it's 2 stories in one, and it's told from a young author who's trying to publish her book called Afterworlds. And it's her journey of, you know, getting published and the whole publishing industry in that world and writing and things like that. And the other half, or every other chapter, is the actual book Afterworlds, which is a story of a girl who dies, goes to the afterlife, comes back, lives her normal life to know that she actually can walk back and forth into the afterlife. And she is journeyed by a death god. So it's a fantastic read if you're into fantasy, or you're into, you know, urban fantasy and a little bit of the supernatural. I think you'll truly enjoy the story Afterworlds. If you're interested in writing and publishing and what's that like in that world, then you'll definitely be interested in the author's story. But for me, neither one of them were my thing. Like, you know, I like writing, but I'm not that interested in the publishing world. I know, you didn't see that coming, but but I actually still enjoyed this. I enjoyed learning about the publishing world. I enjoyed learning about her journey and who she was and how she starts to define herself as she tries to define her book. And I thought it was magnificent read, and this is the first thing I read by Scott Westerfeld. I think I will read Uglies. Like, if his writing is any as magnificent as this book was, I'm definitely gonna carry on with more of his writing. Also, Afterworlds, I'm not really into like that afterlifeness. Like, I love supernatural, and I understand that deals with demons and angels, but I'm just, as far as books are concerned, I'm not there for like the whole, oh, you're a fallen angel or in and out of the afterlife. Like, it just never captures me. But this, which is why I probably would have never initially picked this up, but this book sucked me in. I loved it. I was there for it. I'm living for it. And if you've read this, please let me know. If you have not read this, I suggest you pick this up. It is worth the read. Don't let this weight scare you. The next book that I want to talk to you guys about is Life as We Knew It by Susan Beth Pfeffer. And this, I've never heard of this book. No background, went in completely blind. Crazy, magnificent read. If you like Anne Frank, then you'll definitely like this because it's the same kind of diary style writing that I really, really enjoy usually. But I mean, it was just blew my mind, the things that this character went through. If you don't know what this book's about, it's about a meteorite hits the moon and pushes the moon closer to the earth. And with this, earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, we have pretty much a new ice age, just crazy stuff that are happening to this girl as the weather changes due to this one cataclysmic event. So I was just blown away by how real it was and how resilient this family was and how she describes her friends, her family, and her town. And I was just blown away by it. I cried a million cries. This is actually one book in a trilogy. I don't know if I want to go further on. Like, I was very happy with the ending and I don't want to know if anything else happens. I just don't. Like, I just do not want to hear any more horrible things. Like, I just want to live in my fake little world where everything magical happens. But if you think I should read on, let me know and I will. But as of right now, I love this book. 5 out of 5 stars. Well written, so much fun, so many emotions. It's a whirlwind of a ride. The next book I don't have on me, I actually got it from the library, and it is My Heart and Other Black Holes by Jasmine Warga. I thought this was an excellent read. This was during the time that I had my really bad reading slump and I just couldn't push on. And so I decided that I would jump into this book. And oh my gosh, did it not heal my reading slump. Like, I was just kind of over it. And I realized the root of my reading slump. I was really sad, really depressed at the moment. And then, if you don't know what this book is about a girl who has made a decision to commit suicide. And she goes online to find a suicide partner so that it would, I guess, encourage them to kind of take the plunge together. It's very, very heavy read, very strong emotions. Find out the reasons why they decide to make this decision. You're like following with them to kind of like be there, like, you know, what's gonna happen. Now, at the moment this has happened to me, I'm curious, is the writer going to justify suicide? But of course, you know, it's very rare that you're going to read a book where someone justifies suicide. However, I wanted to read this book because I wanted to know if the writer was going to give a legitimate reason for why we choose to live on. So if you're not into the triggers of suicide, I highly, highly recommend do not read this. But if you're someone who is really looking for something real and relatable and doesn't mind a little bit of a love story as well, then I highly recommend you read this. I thought it was beautiful. I thought it was magnificent. I thought, in my personal opinion, the author did very due respect with this topic. The only other book that I found a lot of respect in was All the Bright Places dealing with suicide. So I would definitely say that My Heart and Other Black Holes is a superb read, and it did something to me magnificently. If you want to know my detailed thoughts on this, please, please, please check out my Goodreads link. I reveal a lot about how I felt reading this book and how it changed me. Just reading this book, I thought it was very powerful. I should own it. I hate that I only got it from the library, but if I get a chance to own it, I certainly will. Next book that I read was also from the library. This was another Nicole Yoon book, and that was The Sun Is Also a Star. If you do not know what that book's about, it's a story about a Korean boy who is on his way to a college entrance interview, and it's also about an African-American girl who's actually, you know, of Jamaican descent, who is about to be deported. They meet each other and they pretty much put everything out on the block. Can a person fall in love with someone in 24 hours? It was absolutely adorable. He was definitely one of my new favorite male leads. Whew, he was smoking hot and I was there for it. I was shocked by the ending, but once we got to the epilogue, I was quite content with it, and I thought it was a beautiful read. It is a little bit slow, but if you're interested in AMBW relationships, if you're interested in interracial relationships, if you have or can relate to being an immigrant, I think that you would truly appreciate and love this book. I did, and I hope you do too. If you read it, let me know down below. I know it was a big read, so just let you know, go for it. The next book I completed, and that was City of Bones by Cassandra Clare. This was a buddy read with my girl Nestle, and she was so sweet. I couldn't really. We were supposed to read it together and we were doing really good, but then I just kept going and I couldn't put it down, and it's all my fault. I love you, girl. It's all my fault. I seriously thought I wasn't gonna read The Mortal Instruments. I was like, it's overhyped. I saw the movie. I actually liked the movie. I hate that it didn't get a sequel. That's me. I didn't read the books, but I thought the movie was straight. Now that I've read the book, I was like, the movie could have been more. But the TV show does not do it any justice either. I think the TV show is trash. I am currently trying to watch the TV show though. You know, you kind of got to get past like 2 or 3, 4 episodes and then it starts to come together a little bit more. But as far as the book is concerned, the first book is a little slow, but I was there for it. I knew exactly how it was going to end, kind of, because there's definitely a lot more information, a lot more events happen in the first book than it does any of the other medias that have adapted it. So with that said, I love this. I'm with it, Mortal Instruments. I'm currently reading the second book. I am living for it. I'm with you guys. I'm gonna commit 7 books. I can do it. Is it 7? I think it's 7. I can do it. All right. I'm gonna do it this year. The next 2 books I'm gonna talk about is actually a manga. And I have the complete collection. I'm so happy because I love them so much. And that is Orange by Ichigo Takano. This is a story of a girl named Naho who is about to start her 11th year, and she receives a letter that is from 10 years in the future telling her all the details of her life. Of course, she doesn't believe that it's real. She thinks it's a prank until she notices that everything that happens in the letter comes to fruition. And she skips ahead to find out what's the point in all this, to find out that it's all about saving the new guy who comes to school. And so she is on a mission to save him. And as you read the books, you'll find out that maybe she's not the only one who knows. So I thought it was a magnificent read. Again, suicide triggers, depression triggers, but it's a beautiful story. I loved it from beginning to the end. It was worth every penny I spent on this because it also helped with my reading slump that I was dealing with, and I just really enjoyed this. So if you read it, let me know. If you're gonna read it, let me know down below. All right, the next thing that I read was Stars Above by Marissa Meyer. I think I've almost officially read everything this woman has written, at least everything involved in Ludo Chronicles. I just haven't read, I think, what Nerves and Wires. I was this close to having it at the library, but as I was looking for it, they were like, yeah, it's here. 3 minutes later of us just looking for this book, someone checked it out. So it was clearly in someone's hands. So that sucks. But when I get the chance, I am going to get Nerves and Wires. I might just go ahead and buy it. We'll see. Stars Above. Is it my favorite Ludo Chronicles book? Certainly not. It might be my third though, and that's not bad. My first favorite Ludo Chronicles book is definitely Fairest. That's my favorite, followed by Crest, which I struggled, like they're really close to each other. And then I would say Stars Above. And then after that, it's like maybe Cinder, and then Winter, and then we all know Scarlet's like the one I hate the most. If you don't know what Stars Above is, it's pretty much, well, Stars Above is like all the little mini stories, just letting you know events that happen maybe prior to one of the books or in between one of the books or maybe after all the books. So I really do love the aspect. Anything with Captain Coswell, I'm there for it. I'm living for him, okay? He's literally my favorite character. I thought it was someone else. I thought it was Cress, and maybe, but it's Captain Coswell. I'm sorry. After Stars Above, Captain Coswell is definitely my favorite new character, followed by Cress, because I think she's the cutest thing since sliced bread. I love the wedding story. I thought that was completely adorable, and I loved learning what happened involving Scarlett's grandmother around Cinder coming to Earth. Like, I thought that was really cool, and it was like Marissa Meyer was like, everything you need to know that you thought you didn't know, she placed in that book. And so I thought it's definitely a read if you feel like you don't feel quite complete with the Lunar Chronicles with just the 4 books. I highly recommend reading Stars Above and Ferris, and you'll love it. You'll love it. It won't be a waste of a read, which is why I usually don't read novellas, because they feel like a waste of a read. But these are actually necessary to the story, so not a waste. Go for it. Do it. Oh, another book that I've read, this is also another manga, and that is Doubt by Yoshi Tonagai. He also wrote Judges, so he does really great horror mangas if you're into that. I enjoyed Doubt. It was not my favorite by him. I think I like Judges more. But if you don't know what Doubt's about, Doubt is actually the story of these kids who play this game that's pretty much called like Wolf. You're all sheep, and you're trying to figure out who's the wolf among all the sheep. However, someone kidnaps them all and makes it come to life. Among them is the killer who's killing them off one by one. They're stuck into this building where they have to use keys and mysteries to get out of the building, while also trying to figure out who's killing them and why. So it's a mystery, it's horror, it's a lot like Saw. It's a lot like Saw if you like Saw. And I loved it. I really did enjoy it. I will go further on, but I don't know if I'll pay for like a whole book. Like, I don't know if I want to collect this series. I think I might start collecting Judges, because I like Judges a little bit more. But I do kind of want to know what happens, and I want to know how it ends. When anime comes, I'm not reading anything. Like, that would be good enough for me. I just really want to know how it ends. I don't necessarily need to read it. You know what I'm feeling? I just want to know. Lastly, the last book I'm going to talk to you guys about is I also read Dark Matter by Blake, I think Crouch is how you pronounce his name. That was the wild card. I didn't know if I was going to like it. I heard a lot of mixed reviews. You either really hate this book or you really love this book. Me, I loved it. I didn't really love it, but I loved it. I thought it was well written. There are points where it gets a little bit monotonous, a little bit confusing. But it's one of those things where if you just stick with it, and if you kind of understand how time travel works and how different universes work, it's not as confusing as it could be. If you don't care about science and you don't care about time travel, if you're like, we're not into Back to the Future as much as I was, then this may have lost you a little bit. Like, you might have not been interested. But I thought it was so cool. I love Twilight Zone. I love Outer Limits growing up. And so if you're into that weird sci-fi craziness, I think it's called Black Mirror. I want to say it's called Black Mirrors, the anthology that's on Netflix right now. So if you're into like weird technology, sci-fi stuff, then you'll really appreciate Dark Matter. I did. I thought it was crazy. I thought it was weird. I still don't know who's who, but I thought it was worth it. I thought it was a great read. Glad I was there for it. I highly recommend if you're into sci-fi and you don't mind going through all that sciencey stuff. If you're a real nerdy, geeky person, you'll love this book. If you're not into any of that, don't waste your time. Anyway, that was my first quarter read. Gosh, this was a long video, so I hope you're there for it. And I will see y'all in the next video, actually shortly. We're gonna get it together, you guys. We're gonna get it together. Bye.